Welcome to today's practice. This is one of the most nurturing practices I can think of because it is all about just loving your hips and creating more space and more ease in all of the muscles around the pelvis. And it is one of those practices that for me, I like to do when I'm super stressed out, when I've been sitting all day and feel really tight. It's also a really good one to do right before I go to bed at night, especially if I've had a really busy, stressful day and I just need something to unwind. Maybe it's a little bit healthier than my evening wine as well. Okay, so start up sitting big and tall. Bring your hands facing, palms facing down on your knees, and just take a moment to lift your chest, drop your shoulders down, close your eyes, take a couple breaths. Use your breath to help you relax any of the tension you might be feeling in your face, your jaw, your neck, your shoulders. Imagine the tension just leaving you with an exhale. Good, then with an inhale, I want you to lift your chest, feel your shoulders pull back and away, lift your chin, and then exhale round the back. So it's a seated cat and cow. Inhale, lift the chest, and exhale round the back. Good, one more, inhale, lift. And exhale, round. Good. Exhale, bring your ribs to the side, round into your cat, and then ribs to the other side. Lift your chest in the middle. Good, a couple more, just rounding. This is a really easy, gentle way to start to warm up the hips. We'll do maybe 3 to one side and then switch directions to go the other way. Good, come through center and make those circles a little smaller and a little smaller until you're just sitting upright evenly on each of your sitting bones. Good. Bring your fingertips behind you, lift your chest with an inhale. And then with an exhale, just hinge at the hips and come forward, any amount. So some days I do this and I don't need to go very far because I right away can feel my hips are kind of tight, my sitting bones lift. And so all I need to do is to press them down again, lift out of my pelvis again, and then exhale. Maybe there's room to go a little deeper. Good. Inhale, lift up. Switch the cross of the legs. So whichever shin you have in front, put the other one in front. It feels really weird. Fingertips come behind you. Inhale, lift your chest. And then exhale, start to hinge at the hips and fold. You don't have to go very far usually to feel a stretch through the outside of your hip, which is all we're going for right here. Take another big breath. Beautiful. Inhale, lift on up and come to lie back on your backs. Good. Bend your knees, bring your knees in toward your chest, give yourself a big hug, and just kind of start to rock your knees from side to side. So a nice little low back massage. Maybe make circles with your knees, one direction, and then the other direction. Good. And then flex both feet. Bring your right ankle to the outside of your left knee for a figure 4 stretch. And then interlace your hands, grab the front of your left shin, or sometimes behind the knee is better. You choose what makes the most sense for you. And just take a couple breaths. We're just taking inventory right now. This is just a good place to feel where your tension is in your hip. So notice And then if you want to, you can kind of go from side to side a little bit. This is just an exploration again, like, it's a little hard to go to the left. It's a little easier to go to the right. Notice what you feel. Good, and then whenever you're ready, just switch sides. So undo the legs, flex your feet, left ankle comes to the outside of the right knee, and then pull everything up toward your torso. Take just a couple breaths to just notice how your hip feels. How does that left hip feel? Is it different from the right? Take a big deep breath into it. Experience it for a moment. And then maybe start to just kind of go from side to side. It's a really subtle movement. So no big dramatic rocking from side to side. It's just a noticing. And I also find that when I add a little bit of movement, a little bit of like swaying or rocking sensation to what I am doing, that sometimes my muscles that are tight let go a little more easily, right? It's like a gentle coaxing instead of like manhandling. Good. When you're ready, let that go. Take your right knee on top of your left knee, kind of like you're sitting, sitting very ladylike, and then pull the whole thing up. Flex both feet. Grab on to the pinky toe edges of your feet. And just take a couple breaths here. If you want a little less of a hip stretch, you can pull your heels in toward your hips. If you want a little bit more, then you're making more of a right angle through your knees. I'm gonna come to the side a little bit so you can see me a little bit better. Take a few breaths, just notice where you're feeling the sensation. Be with it. Good, and then switch sides. So feet come to the floor, left knee stacks on top of the right, like you're sitting like a lady. Pull your knees in and grab on to the outer edges of the feet again. Couple breaths. Adjust as needed. And then make sure that you aren't gripping your shoulders to help you hold your feet. Can you soften through the shoulders? Soften the face, soften the jaw. That is my mantra, soften your jaw. Notice your breath. Good, let that go. Hug your knees in toward your chest. Rock a little bit from side to side. And then start to rock forward and back, forward and back, and forward and back, until you come to sit up again. Good. Come to hands and knees. Good. Take a moment to just wiggle around, connect with your body, notice what you need, and give yourself what you need. This is always a really important part of every practice that I do. Good. And then step your right foot behind you, toes to the floor, heel reaching, big stretch through the back of the leg. Good. Spin your heel down. Reach your right arm up. Come into a modified side plank pose. This time bring your hand to your top hip and then just take a moment. Inhale, lift the leg so it's parallel to the floor. And then exhale, tap the foot down. A couple times, really easy and gentle. Think about squeezing the outside of that right hip. Good. Reach your right arm up and over, lift the side ribs up. Just take a big, easy side stretch. Let it feel good. Good, and then switch. Come back to hands and knees. Reach your left foot behind you, toes to the floor, heel reaching, big stretch. And then as you're ready, spin your back heel down. Reach your left arm up toward the sky. Top hand comes to top hip. And then same thing, inhale, lift the leg so it's about the same height, your foot's the same height as your hip. And then gentle, easy, controlled taps down and back up, squeeze the top hip. 2 more. Good, come back to hands and knees. Bring your knees really, really wide. Bring your big toes to touch. Sit your hips to your heels and rest, forehead to the floor. And you may be saying, Erica, we're supposed to be nurturing ourselves here. Why are you making me do some strengthening for my hips? And the answer is for the same reason that you feel that amazing release in your Shavasana at the end of class after you've been moving and mindful and doing the work. The same thing, I hope, will happen with your hips once you do a little work and then come into a more passive stretch. Take another big breath in. Let it out through your mouth. Take a big sigh. Good. Come up to hands and knees. Good. Step your right foot behind you. Nice. Inhale, lift the leg so it's parallel to the floor. And then this time you're going to bend your knee, tuck it behind your other knee, and then lift it again. Good. Do that one more time. So bend the right knee, tuck the knee behind your left knee, and then straighten it up again. Good. Then you're going to bring your knee to the outside of your right elbow and then come back up again. Good. And then alternate between the two. Exhale, left knee tucks behind the right knee. Inhale, lift it straight. Exhale, right knee comes to the outside of the right elbow. I said that wrong, but you knew what I meant. Good. One more with your own breath at your own pace. Move slowly and with control. Good. Whenever you're ready, come back to hands and knees. Come into a child's pose. 3 slow, full, deep breaths. Good. We've only got one more side, so that's the good news. Come back up to hands and knees. I tell the same jokes over and over again. Bring your left foot behind you. Good. Inhale, lift the leg so it's parallel to the floor. Exhale, tuck the knee behind your other knee and then reach it long again. Good. We did that a couple times on the first side, so I have to do it a couple times on this side. Slow and with control. Tucking that left knee behind the right knee and then extending the leg behind you. Good. And then when you're ready, the next one, you're going to bring your left knee to the outside of your left arm and then straighten it up again and then tuck the knee behind. Good. 2 more with your own breath at your own pace. Good. And then child's pose. Knees wide, big toes touch, hips to heels, just melt into the floor. Inhale, come up to hands and knees. Exhale, find your downward facing dog. Let your spine be as long as you can make it. Maybe that means you bend the knees a little bit, really press through the hands to lift your hips up and back. And shake out your head. Good. Know that you can stay here Or inhale, float your right leg up. Bend the knee, turn your hips to the right, open it up, big stretch. This is one of my favorite hip openers. And then straighten the legs, square off the hips, bring the foot to the floor and switch sides. Left leg lifts, bends, and opens. Good, straighten the legs, square off the hips, bring the foot to the floor. Come into pigeon pose with the right knee forward. Good, we are going to be in our pigeon for a little bit, so I recommend if you have a bolster or a pillow or a stack of blankets nearby, grab them and use them to help you release into the pose a little bit more. So come, bring your fingertips to the floor, lift your chest, inhale first, and then with an exhale, fold forward and down any amount. Find your breath. Follow it in and back out. Notice the darkness of your eyelids. Notice how, if you're able to smush your forehead down into something, it feels like a relief. There's a release of pressure almost. Enjoy that feeling. Take a couple more breaths, slow and steady, full and deep. And then lift your head, walk your hands back. You can come through downward facing dog or hands and knees, whichever you prefer. And just slide that left knee forward. Pigeon pose, side two. Come to fingertips. Lift your chest, inhale. And then exhale, forward and down, any amount. Be in the moment. Keep coming back to, how does my body feel right now? What tension can I let go of? What do I need more of? What do I need less of in the pose and in my life? It is always okay to follow that intuition. Take another big breath in through your nose. Let this one come out through your mouth. Big sigh. And then walk yourself on back up. Shift your weight to the left hip. Swing your right leg around. Sit up big and tall. Step in just one or two more breaths. Notice how you feel. Notice how that short practice changed your body, changed your mindset. May you each be blessed with peace and joy, love and light. Namaste.